What is holiness? Socrates asked the seemingly all-wise Euthyphro. Holiness is acting against one who has done wrong, the Athenian prophet replied. Unsatisfied, Socrates remarked, "You have given me but one example. One's definition of holiness must be sufficient to include all instances of that virtue. Now tell me, what is holiness?" Well, then, holiness is what is dear to the gods. Unholiness is what is not. Upon examination by Socrates, this was no more satisfactory than the first definition. It is not clear what makes anything dear to the gods, nor to which ones it is dear, as we have so many, Socrates implied. Do the gods not argue amongst themselves then? Socrates asked. Well, yes, I guess, Euthyphro replied, this time with precaution. So, if there are some things loved by the gods and hated by others, then by this definition, these things will be both holy and unholy, thus discarding the definition of holiness. Euthyphro remained clueless. The almighty Athenian prophet could not define holiness in the slightest. Who was he then to make decisions about right or wrong, to decide between life or death in his duty as priest? What do we know? Maybe you know nothing. In this story about Euthyphro, Socrates used what is known as the Socratic Method, which can be divided into four main steps. First, a thesis is established. Then, the thesis is secured by some further premises. Then, from the main axioms, some truths are established by reasoning logically. And in the end, the original thesis is shown to be wrong, since this method of reasoning can be applied to most common beliefs that people hold. Most of our reasoning is based on wrong assumptions. That's why Socrates said that the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. These fundamental flaws in our understanding of the world can make contradictions and paradoxes pop up out of nowhere. So big complex reasoning like proving God doesn't exist or that time travel is impossible, which I both did in previous videos, will inevitably lead to paradoxes that seemingly disprove the concept at hand. But the problem can just as easily be blamed on our flawed understanding of the concept, but also our understanding of logic and reasoning itself. That's why at the heart of epistemology lies one truth, and that is that we know nothing. But knowing you don't know something is better than thinking you know something when you do not, I think. It's a step in the right direction towards true knowledge. When you were a child, you might have assumed that clouds were soft floating islands created in cloud factories. After you went to school, you might have learned that clouds were actually water suspended in the atmosphere, but you might still hold some wrong assumptions about how this actually works. By eliminating these wrong assumptions one by one, we can get closer to what the clouds actually are, but the first step is always to realize that you are wrong. So if you want to truly understand something, start by assessing what you think you know and chisel away at it until you find something truly worthwhile. Let's apply this to yourself. You might think that you know who you are, but if this video has taught you anything, it should be that you don't know. Scientists are still struggling to define consciousness, and with the recent rise of AI, this has become more important than ever. What's the difference between your mind and ChatGPT? Consciousness? Understanding? Try to prove it. Ask yourself how and why, and eventually you'll run into a brick wall. Words go in, you think, words go out. A prompt goes in, the computer computes, and a response comes out. Is there really that much going on in our brains? Is our thinking really so spectacular? Or is the idea of minds and consciousness just another big misconception? Probably. If you want to deepen your understanding of yourself, you'll have to clear up some wrong assumptions, perhaps by watching this video.